There is something strange about the way people react to you. At first, you may not notice it. Life moves quickly, conversations pass by, and moments blur together. But slowly, quietly, a pattern begins to reveal itself. When you walk into a room, something shifts. Not dramatically, no one announces it, but the atmosphere changes. Conversations pause for a second longer than usual. Someone glances at you and then quickly looks away. A smile appears, but it feels slightly forced. Sometimes people become unusually quiet. Other times they suddenly become overly friendly, and occasionally someone reacts with subtle hostility even though you have said absolutely nothing. At first, it confuses you. You replay moments in your mind. Did I say something wrong? Did I offend someone? Did I do something strange? But the more you observe, the more you realize something important. This reaction often happens before you even speak, before you share an opinion, before you express a thought. It happens simply because you are there. And that raises a deeper question. Why would someone's mere presence affect people this way? To understand this phenomenon, we need to explore a powerful idea from the psychologist Carl Jung. Jung believed that human beings are not only physical creatures, we are also psychological fields of influence. Every person carries an invisible atmosphere around them, not a mystical aura in the supernatural sense, but a psychological presence shaped by your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your unresolved conflicts, your self-awareness, and your relationship with your own unconscious mind. According to Jung, most people walk through life wearing what he called a persona. The persona is the social mask we develop to fit into society. It is the version of ourselves we show the world, the polite version, the acceptable version, the version that avoids conflict and hides vulnerability. The persona helps us function socially, but it also hides a deeper part of the psyche, the shadow. The shadow contains everything we suppress: our fears, our insecurities, our hidden desires, our anger, our shame. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding their shadow. They distract themselves with work, entertainment, or social validation, anything that prevents them from looking inward. But sometimes a person begins to do the opposite. Instead of running from their inner world, they turn toward it. They question themselves, they face uncomfortable truths, they examine their fears and insecurities. They begin the difficult process Jung called individuation. Individuation is the journey of becoming who you truly are. Not the person society expects, not the person your family imagined, but the person that exists beneath all the masks. This process is not easy. In fact, it is deeply uncomfortable. Because confronting the shadow means admitting things about yourself you once tried to ignore. Your ego resists it, your mind tries to escape it. But if you continue this inner work, something begins to change. Your presence changes. You become quieter in some ways, but stronger in others. Your words become more intentional. Your silence becomes deeper. Your attention becomes sharper. And people begin to feel something around you they cannot easily explain. Because when someone has confronted parts of themselves that others are still avoiding, their presence becomes psychologically powerful, not because they are trying to dominate the room, but because their energy is aligned. Their thoughts, emotions, and awareness are no longer fragmented. And this alignment has a strange effect on people around them. It acts like a mirror. Human beings are extremely sensitive to psychological signals, even when we are not consciously aware of them. We notice body language, tone of voice, eye contact, silence, and micro-expressions. But there is something even deeper we respond to: authenticity. When someone is truly present with themselves, it creates a subtle tension in environments built on pretense. Imagine a group of people laughing and joking in a conversation that is mostly superficial. Nothing is wrong with this. Small talk helps maintain social harmony. But suddenly, someone enters the room who carries a different energy. They're calm, observant, present. They are not trying to impress anyone. They are not desperately seeking approval. They simply are. And this quiet authenticity changes the psychological atmosphere. Some people find it comforting, others find it deeply unsettling, because authenticity has a way of exposing illusion, not intentionally, but naturally. When someone around you is fully present with themselves, it becomes harder to hide from yourself. You begin to notice your own nervousness, your own insecurity, your own need for approval. And for many people, this experience is uncomfortable. So the mind reacts defensively. Some people become quieter around you. Others try harder to impress you. Some may even become slightly hostile or dismissive, not because you have done anything wrong, but because your presence triggers something in their unconscious mind. Jung described this as psychological projection. Projection occurs when people unconsciously attribute their own hidden feelings to someone else. For example, a person who feels insecure might accuse someone else of being arrogant. A person who feels dishonest might accuse someone else of being manipulative. In reality, they are reacting to something within themselves, but it feels safer to believe the problem is external. And individuals who carry a strong sense of self-awareness often become targets for projection because their presence activates unresolved emotions in others. This is one of the quiet paradoxes of psychological growth. The more you understand yourself, the more unpredictable other people's reactions can become. Some people will feel deeply drawn to you. They sense something stable and genuine. They feel safe opening up. You may notice strangers sharing personal stories with you, friends confiding in you during difficult moments, people trusting you with emotions they rarely show others. But at the same time, some individuals will feel uncomfortable around you. They may describe you as intimidating or intense or distant, even if you are being kind and respectful. Because intensity is not always about loudness. Sometimes intensity is simply presence, the ability to look someone in the eye and truly see them. The ability to sit in silence without needing distraction, the ability to ask questions that go beyond the surface. And for people who are used to avoiding their inner world, this kind of presence can feel overwhelming. But there is something important to understand. This reaction is not a sign that you are doing anything wrong. It is often a reflection of the psychological environment around you. We live in a culture that encourages constant stimulation, phones, notifications, entertainment, endless streams of information. Very little time is spent in silence, very little time is spent in reflection. And because of this, many people rarely encounter someone who is deeply connected to themselves. So when they do, it feels unfamiliar, sometimes even threatening. But Jung believed that individuals who continue the journey of self-awareness play an important role in the psychological evolution of society. They become living reminders that another way of being is possible, a way that values truth over comfort, depth over distraction, awareness over illusion. Of course, this path can sometimes feel lonely because not everyone wants to explore these deeper questions. Some people prefer the safety of familiar patterns, and that is okay. Every person moves through life at their own pace. But the individuals who feel that quiet inner pull towards self-discovery, those who question their assumptions, those who examine their fears instead of hiding from them, often carry a presence that others instinctively notice, even if they cannot explain why. So if you have ever felt like people react strongly to your presence, if you have noticed that strangers open up to you, if conversations around you sometimes shift in unexpected ways, it may simply mean that you are carrying something rare in today's world, a quiet psychological clarity. Not perfection, not superiority, but awareness. And awareness has power. Not the loud, aggressive kind, but the calm, steady kind that slowly transforms the environment around it. Carl Jung once wrote that the greatest privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But he also understood that this journey is not always easy because authenticity disrupts illusions, truth challenges comfortable stories, and self-awareness forces us to confront parts of ourselves we once tried to hide. But the reward for this courage is something extraordinary, an inner stability that does not depend on external approval, a clarity that allows you to navigate life with intention, and a presence that quietly encourages others to begin their own journey of self-discovery. So, if people sometimes feel something around you they cannot explain, if your presence shifts the atmosphere of a room, do not rush to shrink yourself. Do not assume something is wrong. It may simply mean that you have begun the process Jung described as becoming whole. And wholeness, even in silence, has a way of speaking louder than words.